Okay, so during the break, I added a little bit more information on our About page. It is not like super important for you to do the same, but just so that we have something else to look at. G107 View Squad is boss as heck. We're just in here learning all sorts of stuff about Vue and how it works. Check out our group page for some more info on the boss as heck humans in the squad. God, that is hard to read out loud. Okay. Boss as heck. What's up?
I think I have a problem. I'm still just getting the path in my data route, whatever. And it's not showing like useless superheroes null.
Show me.
That's coming up.
Okay, and that is in your app component though. So go ahead and drop down app.
Yeah, okay.
And that, if you scroll down in the route on home, oh wait, it's on squad too.
On the squad.
So if you'll click the squatty link,
That'll
and then
do.
there we go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, you're all good. Okay, so we've got some data coming in. Now yes.
I'm not sure if I'm getting data. Like when I open up the developer tool,
Mm-hmm.
I can see.
Yours is right. It's just a local host. So
Yeah, because it's a local host. That's what I was wondering.
we're not getting any data.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. That is a very good point. I don't have this deployed. It will take me a minute to deploy it, but I'm sure you all would like to get some data in your applications. So if you want, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a component for the individual cards for the humans, and then I'm going to run a loop on them, and then get a bunch of them displaying. And then we'll pause, y'all can catch up with that, and I will deploy the application. Sound good? All right. So, as far as components go, in our group page, I don't want it just to say View Squad. I want it to render a bunch of cards with your awesome animal pictures and some other info about it. Okay? So for that, I'm just going to make a new component called, we'll call it individual card. Great. So then template, script, style, with CSS scoped. In my template, I'm just going to make an H1 that says I'm a card. Easy enough. And I'm going to come back to group. So here's where something is going to break. First off, how do I use that individual card in my group component? Import it. Yeah. I gotta stop writing in all caps. It always screws me up. Import individual card from /components / individual card.view. Okay, that's step one. What's the next step?
Create a components object and export default.
Yeah, so I'm going to do that below my data but above my methods, just because that makes sense to me right at this moment. Components, and components is an object, and we have individual card. Great, that's step two. What's step three? Someone from the back. What's step three here? We've imported it. We've declared it as one of our components. Now how do we put it on the page?
You need to into individual cards. Or
Sorry?
individual card.
Where?
Pass it into the template.
Yeah. Heck yeah. That's what's up. Individual dash card? No. What's going on here? Individual card. Oh, but here's that issue again, right? Template root requires exactly one element. Throw it in a div. Great. So now that shouldn't be too angry. Let's see if it's there. I'm a card. Woo! Great. Now, how are we going to create an individual card for each item or each student in our array? Map through the data, and that is called what? A V4. Oh, heck yeah. V-4 colon. No, equals. Yeah, equals. And then it is, let's say, hero in useless super heroes. Yeah, that's the one. Great. So we have a V4 there, and it's going to yell at us until we do what? Bind. What are we going to bind? We're going to bind to key though, right? Yeah. Shorthand for vbind, you just do a colon, and then key equals, yeah. It's pretty sweet. So we're going to do, I think you all should have IDs. So we're going to do hero plus hero.id. I think that should work. It's no longer yelling at us. And again, this is just a simpler syntax for vbind. You do, yeah, what's up?
Can you kind of explain, I don't fully understand what's happening with the bind.
As far as the key or just the bind in general?
Like, why do we have to add the key? What exactly is the key doing?
Yeah, sure. So what the key is doing is when you create multiple elements of like the exact same type, sometimes the renderer has trouble figuring out which one it needs to update. So each one has a unique identifier on it. Because if you think of it kind of like a deck of cards, they all have a unique identifier, but when you don't give it a key, it's like you're looking at the back of the cards. And while Vue is smart and can probably, with a pretty good degree of accuracy, figure out which one is which, like it doesn't know for sure. So when you give it a key, it's like showing the face of the cards so you can pick exactly the one that you want to update. It's not something that you're going to run into problems with all the time, but it does happen. And so to never run into that problem, it's proper protocol to put a key on them.
And just to follow on that,
Yeah.
this is where we declare those keys inside the template tag right here.
Correct. So again, like we talked about this a little bit yesterday. So within the quotes for key, I basically put in a JavaScript expression. I put in a string plus the ID of the hero. And the reason that I did not like that as opposed to just like which is what we did yesterday, is because I know that our items have IDs. At least I'm pretty sure they do. And we're using hero there because if we just use the ID, then that means that there's probably going to be other elements that we've looped through that have the same ID. So we want them to always be like unique. Any other questions on that? That is a really good question, and it is confusing. So thank you for asking. Okay, so I expect that now we're going to get a bunch of individual cards that are saying, I'm a card, I'm a card, I'm a card.
Can I see your individual card?
Yeah, for sure. Just got something in the template.
Yeah, okay.
For now.
Yeah, I don't know, my group.view, the individual card is not showing up, so.
Oh. That's probably, did you put it in the 3 places?
Yeah.
Well, y'all take some time, code, get to this point, or maybe pass, and I'm going to deploy the backend so that you can get some data too. If you did a V4 on that, the reason that it's probably not showing up is because use of superheroes is null, and even if you're reassigning on the fetch, it's just going to be like undefined or something because you're not getting anything back.
Do that yet,
Oh, okay.
but it's not showing up, so I don't know.
Okay, give me a second. I'm going to deploy this to Heroku, and then I'll Slack out the link to that. Ooh. Oh. All right. The URL is live. Ooh. Got it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, because you don't have data. Well, the database is the one broken down. I selected out the link, so you can just add that in to your bench. Yeah.
Too bad.
First, you need to use that one all. Yeah.
Good. All popping up
Good.
saying I'm a car.
Good. Good.
Wow.
Right, good. Awesome. Good. Almost. Cool. No, you're good. I'm just saying that I need to look over your shoulder. Hopefully making it hard.
So it took you like 5 minutes to get something.
Not resolve unless individual card. So, when you import an individual card, let's go to that line. So, you have to use the .u extension because it's not a JS file. Still
got an avatar. What are you putting on your taxes? Lunch?
We're not doing our, hips or chicken dill
Average,
Just throw something in it.
Yeah. My Spanish teacher in sophomore year of high school was a chef. And now he's on director.
Not surprised, I guess you can't get it.
I mean, if your component is so simple that you don't need a div, you probably don't need a set.
That's insane. You can make as much money.
Mess with styling.
No.
Does it mess with styling at all?
So I did.
I mean, so again, in the DOM, you just have like an extra div around that. Right, where it's gonna
Get out of
be the
here.
case 95% of the time whenever you're making a component for something.
Angular can't
But
Angular.
if you style it before you put the div line,
Yeah,
probably
probably
it look like
clown framework.
Yeah.
Yeah, work with it.
yeah.
You'll
run
run
into
into
it,
it
yeah.
down like kind of.
But most everything's gonna be a wrapping div.
Correct. Simply does not function as a wrapping div.
Right.
All right, cool.
I'm declining that.
So does everybody have data coming in from our newfound built database, Delium Doohickey? Hoorah! Yeah. Woo! All right, cool. Next, let's pipe some data into these cards. So I'm gonna get this out of here, and then I'm gonna do. Yeah. So now we got some word wrap. I'm gonna actually break this down onto another line, just so that it's easier to read for me. Let's do one more line. So now we need to bind some other data to this component. So what should we bind? What do we want to display in these individual cards?
The object.
Yeah, the object. We want to display the student, right? So how do we do this? We need to bind it. We have a little shorthand bind here. So we're going to do our little colon. What do we want to call it?
You can do multiple binds.
Mm-hmm.
Casual.
You ready?
Student.
Yeah, sure. Student.
Student.
And then what are we going to, what is the value of this key?
Superheroes.
Close. We have a loop going though. And what is the current value in the loop called?
Oh, hero.
That's right, hero. We're getting that from this right now.
So you can do colon student instead of colon key.
So-
That's confusing to me.
Yeah, cool. I'll rewrite these with the standard syntax.
I get
Beyond.
the colons, but
Oh, okay.
why can we have one that's named key and one that's named student?
Because these are two different props that you're passing down.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions on that?
So what does that do? Does that make another key value pair?
Mm-hmm.
One called student, one called hero?
Okay, so in this line, on line 6, we're binding a prop called key, which is expecting because of the loop, and its value is going to be hero plus hero ID. So I assume it'll be like hero 1, hero 2, hero 3. And then we're binding another prop that we are calling student, and its value will be hero, which we are getting from the current value in our loop.
Okay.
So we're able to use stuff from this v4 in other places and other directives on that element.
Okay.
More questions? Hit me with them.
That's called student.
Yes. Each hero will be called student in our child component, so in individual card.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay. So now we have bound this prop called student to individual card. What do we need to do in individual card to register that prop? So we've bound it, which is kind of the passing down part, but we need to register it in here.
Bracket, or curly bracket, and then hero.
That's good. That's how we're going to display it, right? So we do something like hero dot. Actually, we called it student, right? So it'd be student dot. Oh, let's just put ID in first. This is angry. Oh yeah, div. So that's kind of the syntax used to like fill in pieces.
Oh, and then you can do like a paragraph tag for all the pieces of the object you want to display.
Mm-hmm. But also, we still need to register the prop inside of this component.
So in the export default.
It is inside of the export default.
Props, and then is it just a student?
It is, so it's an array is the way that it's the easier syntax for it.
Okay.
And then you just give it a string, and we called it student.
I believe you did.
So now,
That's the key. Yeah.
that is the key, right?
Okay.
So what this does is this component creates a key value pair. The key is whatever you give it right here, and it expects you to pass down a prop with that name, and then it fills in the value. So originally, when this component is rendered, it has a prop called student, but the value is, any guesses? Undefined, right? And then when it gets the prop passed down to it, it changed that value from undefined to whatever. You had a question, D?
With these keys, should they be the same as the binding keys, or should these be different since those could be unique? Or are these two completely different key sets?
If I'm understanding your question right, you're asking if this prop name in the component should match what we did here.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Those should always be the same.
Okay.
Good question. We don't need to do anything with key, so don't worry about that. We just need to make it there. Any more questions about that? We Gucci? Okay, cool. So we've bound something called student to our individual card. And we've also said inside of our individual card, like, hey, expect a prop called student. So now the two things match up, and we should get student ID popping up underneath the I'm a card. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, now we're cooking with fire, right? Now we can like fill out these student cards with all the stuff that we want. So if you haven't caught up to this point, take some time and get here. And then we're just going to kind of like plug all of the cool stuff into our cards and maybe lay them out in rows instead of just one big column and do like a little bit of styling. Ooh, I've got 21 errors. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, let's take a look.
So let's go to group. Alright, so we have individual card. We're doing it for heroes and use the superheroes. And then key. Student. That all looks good to me. Import out. So on line 12. Take a look at that. Your path is correct, but you left out the file extension. Since they're not JavaScript files, you have to always include the .view.
Oh.
It's hard to get used to that, especially like in React when you just like type the name of the file. You're like, done.
All right.
Oh, All right, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. So kind of the first thing I want to do is I want to change the layout of all these cards because it's kind of annoying. So I'm going to wrap this individual card in a div. Oh, arrow keys. Get that here. I'm going to wrap that there. I'm going to tab all this over. Hooray. We're going to give this a class. We're going to call it card list. Come down to style, card list, display, flex, flow, row, wrap. Let me see what that does. Yeah, not bad. Looks kind of weird. It actually looks like a different language, kind of. I'm a cardim, a cardim, a cardim, a card. So let's add. I want to add a width. We're definitely going to add a margin. I'm going to add a width of like 90 view width. Height is going to be auto. And then I made like a div around the cards. I'm also going to add a class to the top div. That's going to be group view. Yeah, you don't have to do class name. Group view. And then I want this width to be 100 view width. Display is going to be flex. We're going to flex in a column, flow, column, no wrap. I want to justify content center and align items center, because I can never remember which one does what, because when you change like row versus column, it changes which one does what, so I always just throw both of them on there. Cool. Alright, it's wrapping. We're doing it. So now we do need to add some margin. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to add that to the individual card. I'm going to come in here. We can just do div. It doesn't really matter. Div. Margin. It goes top. And then right, we want to add maybe 10 pixels. 0, 0. Let's see what that does. Is that enough? I think it needs a little bit more. What do y'all think? A little more? 20? That looks a little bit better. Let's also give it like a background color of black and a font color of white. Okay. So that's getting there. Maybe we should also have some bottom margin. There's top, right, bottom. Let's give it another 20 pixels. Ooh, there we go. That's looking better. Maybe some border radius. Let's do 5 pixels. Oh, sorry. That's a bad L. I also kind of want to give it some padding inside. We'll do... Does anybody know? Can we just do like one number in padding and it does it to all sides?
Yes.
Cool. So let's do 10 pixels. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. Still kind of weird because like when it wraps, it leaves like a weird hole there where it's not quite centered, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. So we got some cards on the screen though, and they actually look like cards. Sweet. Okay. So I noticed that like we've got plenty of divs in the application so far, but this is only applying to this div because of that scoped tag. So if you're curious if it works, it works. So let's go. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't use classes, by the way, but like you can do that. All right. so let's go through and like add all the cool stuff that we have now to our cards. So I don't really care about I'm a card anymore. I don't really care about the student ID either, but what was it, student.name? Let's see what else. What's some other cool stuff we got?
Superpower.
Ooh, student dot, it was fave underscore. Oh, that's a URL. What was the, useless superpower?
Useless underscore superpower.
Dope. Superpower. Okay. What else? Previous occupation. Prev underscore occupation. Is that right?
Previous underscore.
Okay. Great. Okay. Now these are all kind of like different sizes too. So that's kind of like, I kind of want to set like a basic width for all of them.
It doesn't show the previous occupation.
Oh, weird. I have some errors. Previous occupation is defined on the instance whenever referenced during render. Let's take a look at our data. View app. Anonymous component. Use of superheroes. Let's check out our object. Previous underscore occupation. Why? Why are you broken?
Student dot.
Oh, there we go. Hooray, problem solving. There we go. Nice. That was the first one that I saw as well. Cool. All right, so we have some cards. I'm gonna like normalize them a little bit. I think that actually this layout looks kind of sick, but I think that with the images it's gonna get a little bit mussed up, and we do want to a little cuckoo bananas. So, and I do want to like kind of keep the layout a little predictable. So we're gonna throw a width on here of, I don't know, let's make them 20 view width. So they big. Yeah, that looks pretty A-okay. What happens? Alright, and the text all wraps, hooray. Oh, but it'll always only do 3. Whatever. Anyway. Alright, so let's do run under student name. We're going to do an image tag. And then the source. I think that we can do it like this. Let's see what happens. Student dot fave animal. I don't like the way that's highlighting. Let's see what happens. Source equals student dot fave animal. What happens? Don't think that that's gonna work. Still broke. Okay, well, let's figure out how we do this. If y'all all pull up the docs for view and see how we can do a dynamic source on an image tag. I'm gonna do the same. Yay.
I'm just so excited for you.
Ooh, did anybody find this? Right. So instead of passing in that attribute source, we're binding the attribute source as whatever we want. So I believe we can just do Kia like that. Let's see if it works. Yay! Wow, that is a big old cheetah. Okay, we're gonna have to normalize these a little bit. So we're gonna do class. We don't need a class. We're just gonna style the tag. Max width is what do we do for the cards? 20 view width, so we'll do like 19 view width. Let's see if that helps us. Okay, good. A little bit more balanced. Logan and Caroline, what's up with your links? What did we do? Did I screw those up in the seeds? Oh yeah. Seeds. Oh heck. Alright, well, we're not going to fix that right now, but we can later. So, we've got some images up here. This is really frustrating me though, that only 3 of them are on the screen and they're all like aligned left. So we can either, nope, that's not helping. I'm going to try to fix that real quick. So we've got the cards, we want the group view, then we need card list, display flex, align items, center, justify, content, center, get in the middle. Interesting. Okay, so now I'm gonna set a height for those cards. So we got a width. Let's go with a height of I don't know, 50 view height. That actually might look kind of tight. Yeah, that works. But now we got this overflow problem here. So maybe max height should be something like, I don't know, 30 view height. 100%. The issue I see with that is that it'll fill the whole container. But we can do something like overflow scroll. I don't really like that, but like, I don't know. Now my cards are all jiggly. They're all jiggly. So we're not gonna, I was just gonna put maybe like a key for each one of these values that we have. And then wait until we do the click for the card to like pop up on another page and then display all the information. And maybe like throw a map in there, I don't know. But for now, I think this is actually a good place to stop for today. Catch up, stick around, answer some questions until lunchtime. And then I will not be helping you with this or walking through this at all this afternoon. We'll resume again tomorrow at 10 though. That doesn't mean don't work on it. If you want to, get in there and figure out the next step, which is being able to click these and have it take you to another page.
Okay. Could you show the image tag?
Mm-hmm.
Students.
What? Oops. Mm-hmm.
How big that cheetah
I'm also going to stop this recording. Yeah. Oh, I didn't click it. Yeah.